Hey there, it's Rick Khan, and in this video, I'm going to reveal part 2 of how to write sales page copy in 9 simple steps so you can do it in the shortest time possible. Now, this part is going to go through the steps that you need to do in order to craft your sales page copy, and it does involve taking all the information that you did in part 1 of the video. So if you didn't watch that, I would highly advise that you make sure to watch that first, or I'll leave it in the description below, and also it should pop up on the screen. But just to quickly recap, this whole process is a structure that if you follow each step will help you to not only organize your copy, but write it in a way that takes your prospect's desires, problems, and solutions, and then masterfully put it all together. And you should be at the stage now where you've gathered enough information about your avatar and your competitors, and you've come up with a basic big idea. Because once you have the big idea in mind, it's then time to come up with your offer. So before writing any part of the copy, crafting your offer is going to be the single most important part, because this is the thing that you're going to present your product or service in a way that's a no-brainer. Now, most people get mistaken about what the offer really is, because did you know your offer is not the same as the product? Your product is the thing that delivers the result, and your offer is the perception that you create that enhances the product. So basically, the product or service equals something you sell. It's where you go through all the features and benefits. It's basically the commodity people that buy. And the offer, this equals the product plus perceived value. Now, the perceived value is anything that makes the purchase or the justification of the purchase easier. And it's where you can make your offer more irresistible and a no-brainer, adding a higher perceived value such as giving extras and bonuses. Now, I say perceived because it's truly about how you create the perception around the value of what you are selling. Because the truth is, it's not about having the best product in the world. It's about how good the perception around the product is that gets true high value prices. I mean, have you ever said, wow, what a deal? This again is because you got an offer, not a product. You bought it because the perceived value outweighed the price. So the question here is, how can you make an offer that's perceived as irresistible? Well, everything you're selling and perceiving must have a focus on the result you're giving the customer. Here's a quick example. If you were selling a dinner plate set, you would add a bonus such as cutlery and glasses to complement the product. Or let's say if you're selling a weight loss program, you could include bonuses such as a weekly smoothie recipes for fat burning with some high intensity bands to speed up the program. Now, do you notice how each example complements the solution that you're trying to provide? It's focusing on achieving the result of the goal. So basically, irresistible offers are offers that focus on singular focus goals or outcomes. Now, let's go into a quick demo of how to make an offer. So say for the weight loss example, let's say you sell an online course to help women over 30 lose 12 pounds through exercise in 12 weeks at $297. Is this an offer? Yes, it is. But is it irresistible? No. So let's add a weekly accountability Zoom call to keep them motivated and on track. And then again, let's add 12-week fat burning recipe book. And again, an exclusive circle of private members to hold your hand every step of the way and make friends doing it at the same time. Now, is this irresistible? Yes. But notice how the price stayed the same without discounting and how each thing complements the outcome of the promise. Now, I do have a blueprint for more details about creating the offer, where you can download that from the link below, and also it'll give you a step-by-step framework to start writing an irresistible offer. But once you create the offer, then it's time to start with the headline. Now, here's where most people writing copy would think you would start with at first, which isn't the case at all, because doing it this way backs you up with so much knowledge about your product, your offer, and everything you've done so far to get here, that basically now you can translate all of this with your headline and copy. But what the job of the headline is that it grabs attention and hooks the reader in. And then it bridges the big idea to start reading the rest of your copy, which I'll go into in just a moment. Well, basically, the headline, it needs to be strong, because if the reader doesn't read the headline, you've pretty much lost them to read anything. Now, there's a brilliant book that I recommend that you read for headlines called How to Write Good Advertisement by Victor Schwab. He basically goes into more details about writing good headlines and has many examples in the book. But overall, you want your headline to grab attention with your promise and get your prospects to keep reading. Then you get to the next part of crafting your copy, which is the lead. Now, this part is a strategy by Michael Masterton in a book that I mentioned in part 1 of the video called Great Leads. And the purpose of the lead is to get your reader to read the rest of your promotion. Basically, the lead is the text right after the headline and can be from a few sentences, half a page to 5 pages long, and so much more. But basically, the lead is the expression of the big idea. And in the book Great Leads, it states, it is the first thing the prospect reads and the one chance you have of persuading him emotionally. If you don't do that in the lead, you will lose him regardless of what you do later on. And that's the importance of this part. So with that said, here are some elements that should be within your lead. So the first is the rule of 1. Keep everything to one theme only with simple language. You want to stick to the one idea and don't move around with different things within your copy. The last thing you want to do is make it complicating with too many things that divert your reader's attention or even overwhelm them with things that can put them off. People only have an attention span to one big idea at a time. And then we have the grease slide. This is where you want to make your copy easy for them to read all the way down without being bored. And you do this by being unexpected, different and interesting, and making sure you keep leaving information gaps without revealing anything that would end the copy. And then you want the 4 U's. You want to be unique, urgent, useful, and ultra specific. And the more you add these in each sentences will make your copy more powerful, because being unique is new and different, such as the new proven way to lose weight. Then you want to be specific, such as you'll lose 1.5 pounds in less than 72 hours. This makes it more real to the prospect. Then you want to add urgency. This is when you have limited time or there's only 100 copies left. And finally, be useful, which basically is something that helps them. And keeping these elements in as much as possible will make your copy more compelling. Then setting up the lead, what you want to do next is the 4 P's, which is promise, push, proof, and picture. Basically, you need a big promise, what they get out of it. Try to get this at the beginning of your copy. Then you need to push them to keep reading your copy, adding the proof to prove what you're saying to give them more certainty, and paint the picture for them, the what's in it for them. Then you have indirect versus direct. Now, this is the level of awareness of where you're meeting your customer, and is also a strategy to use where to position your lead. Now, there are many factors that do affect this, such as from the media, there's different competitors, trends, social, all these different things influence the scale of where your prospect is with their awareness of your product and service. And also, depending how much your prospect knows about your product and solution, you'll use different approaches, such as if they know nothing about you or the solution, then you'll go more indirect. And the more they know about you and your solution, you'll be more direct with them. So altogether, from indirect to direct, there are 6 different lead types, which is the story leads. Now, this is the toughest one, but has the biggest rewards, and it opens up to bigger audiences. And then you have proclamation leads, the problem solution leads. That's where you start the lead with a problem to show a solution. The promise lead, which basically goes directly into your big promise. The offer lead, that one goes straight into the offer. So basically, if they're already aware of the problem and they want the solution, you would use that. So with your research, you basically need to know where your prospect is at and which type of lead you need to be starting with. But again, if any of this sounds confusing, then I highly suggest you get more of an in-depth read by getting the book Great Leads. But then moving to the next step. Now, you'll be at the middle part of the sales copy, And you may notice on sales pages and VSLs that there's always a long part of the text with page after page. This is something where now you're going to take your prospects' objections and turn them into sub-headlines and handle any objection that might be in your prospect's mind. And you can do this by using a framework that's used in Agora called OCPB, which stands for Objection, Claim, Proof, Benefit. So for example, let's start with the objection, where your prospect is skeptical about if whatever your product you're selling will work for them. You'll turn the objection into a headline such as, now you might be thinking, does this work for me? Then you'll make a claim. Well, it works for anyone who is willing to put even the smallest effort in. Then you want to give proof to back up the claim, such as, John had zero experience and was a complete beginner. In fact, we took 8 people with the lowest IQ in the world and they all achieved the result effortlessly. So I gave a bit of an extreme example there, but I hope you get the point. But then you want to end it with the benefit. And that's why you'll get X benefit to transform your life for good. And you can do this sequence over and over again until you've handled every objection you can think about your prospect might have. And once you do this, from this point, this is where you can congratulate yourself because you've done the hard part. And all you have to do now is just put everything together. You want to put your headline, your lead, your objections and offer, and now you can also add guarantees. By adding a guarantee, this will help build a certainty to your reader, which is where you also add a call to action. And you should have a good draft built at this point in front of you, as most of the copy is now done. But here's what I'd like to do, is to write an entire draft again from everything I created. You don't have to if you already have something that's ready to be polished up, but from here, it's then time to start the next part, which is editing it all down. This is where you're going to polish your copy and turn it into a real sales page. You see, before you edit it down, your copy and everything will look a bit messy. You'll have words that don't need to be there, but don't worry about any of this because this is where the magic's going to happen. Editing is what's going to turn the copy into a high converting sales machine. So with that said, here's what you want to focus on when editing, which is read it out loud and take out words that you stumble on. You want it to be easy to read. Then you want to use short sentences and paragraphs. You can take parts of your copy and use the Hemingway app, as this will help you understand how easy it is to read. You literally want it to be readable at a 5th grade level. Then try and add powerful emotional words and remove any adverbs. You can look for synonyms and change the words. Then next, don't worry about grammar. It has to read in the way you talk, and adding grammar can actually hinder this. And with that said, you also want to remove any I statements as much as possible and turn them into you statements. Try and make the copy be about the reader and try and avoid talking about you. And after you've done all of this, then well done, you've officially wrote a sales page. And it is a very big achievement and you should appreciate what you've done here. But here's a final thought, because once you've done all this, you want to get it out as soon as possible, because the only true way to know if this works is how the market responds. And depending on how they respond, you need to be tweaking your headline and offer until you get the result you need. But again, one of the most important things about writing your copy is knowing who you're writing to, where for a more detailed video in the research process, you can check this video right here out. And as always, make sure to like if you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next video.